let's bring people together that don't normally talk to each other. And sometimes it's a fucking car crash. And then other times, it's beautiful. I mean, and we talked about yesterday, I don't want to get into the details of it, but there was, at least one particular current event that hit too close to home, and we just decided not to do debates, and we were putting in the title, and it's not a debate room. And then, I think ever since then, the tone has changed, but what I do love is that it's still that place where people with different opinions can come together. And yeah, the mods are gonna have their biases, but we all disagree on a bunch of shit. Like people don't so everyone knows that I'm very libertarian. I don't think people really go too deep into Kelly's politics. I mean, she's like a raging, neocon lunatic, but her and I are like best of buds on this app, and it's totally cool. I mean, you're probably never going to see a communist moderated in these rooms because I do have some standards. But for the most part, I like having people that I disagree with. I mean, Jay and I get along great. We backchat. I mean, we talk privately, when we're not on this app, quite a bit. And it's funny because when we get into political things, we start realizing that, like, damn, we see that one different, And then when we do agree on something, it's like, oh, that's cool. This house, I think, when it's working well, it's a place where people that don't agree on a bunch of different shit can just peacefully disagree with each other. And then if somebody's out of pocket, we put them in their place. That's kind of part of it.
Well, let me jump in here real quick. So today, in my opinion, in the 3+ years I've been on this app, this room today was probably one of the top 10 rooms I've ever been part of. And I mean that since it was just an incredible room. And somebody early in the room, when it was starting to build, came in and said, have you ever thought about hosting rooms in other rooms? And I knew right away this person was a swipe at the house, at other houses. And I kind of chuckled and I'm like, well, I'm going to tell you what, I like it here. And Kelly was in the room at the time and you hadn't come in yet. And I said, you know what, if you guys smoke with Roger, he's actually a reasonable guy. I said, I've been with Roger, but I don't know if I talk to Roger offline or if I reach out to Roger one-on-one. I'll have a conversation with you. I said, this is healthy debate. Doesn't mean we always have a healthy dialogue with each other. I said, but I kind of found my home here. So, and she's like, I understand. I'm like, I know you understand. I said, but to me, loyalty is not a word, it's a lifestyle. And he welcomed me into his home. And I'm going to respect the rules of the house and respect the OGs like, Rohan and the other ones that come in. And I'm still going to do my thing. But yeah, it was just funny that people still, people hold grudges on the app, which you can say something to somebody like 2 months ago, bro, and they're still going to come back. Now when you said this to me, Roger, 2 months ago, I'm like, dude, get over it. But yeah, to me, this is definitely, in my opinion, the strongest house on the app. And thank you for letting me run the room.
No, man, it's all value add. It's all value add. No, I think what's cool is that the mods that do mod in here, they all have different personalities, but one thing that's pretty consistent is you don't get moderated in this room if you don't have the ability to shut down bullshit when you need to. And that's the more consistent thing than ideology or even I mean, some of us don't even talk offline. Many of us do, but even the ones that don't, there's just an understanding of okay, if I were to fall asleep, if all the other mods were to fall asleep, is the mod that's left going to be able to shut down the bullshit? And the answer, if the answer to that is no, they should be fine. So I'm always
Roger, the funny thing about that today is that I was in a room with somebody that is a huge, he has invested a ton of time on Clubhouse, right? And I got slammed. Jade knows it. I got slammed over and over because I came out and said to a person on on this app that was holding big rooms. Do you want to keep this? Like, do you even look at who's sitting at your table? Because what you're doing right now is making your table smaller. They do not want to be around you. I left. Not that the person is a bad person. I sincerely love this person. But, and know him in real life, not just on social audio. But it was funny they opened up that room. And it's recorded. You can go back and look at it. Jerry had it today. But it just amazes me of the people that you allow to surround yourself with, whether it is in human life, you go out with them, or on social audio. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Are you surrounding yourself with people that are going to move you forward? Are you surrounding yourself with people that are going to drag you down? Man, I don't want anybody. My kids know that. Like my name, I built my name. Don't go out there and act a fool, because our last name is known where we live. Don't be acting a fool. But that is the way you have to move through all of this. And we're all learning, right? We've learned this since 2020, right? We're still learning. I mean, shit, you can't even get through high school without 4 years. So we're all still learning, but regroup who is sitting around you and figure out if you want that behind you. Because people can look at your profile, they can see what rooms you're in. Do I want to be in a room with a bunch of knuckleheads where I'm going to get called tomorrow and ask, what the fuck were you doing, Beth? I don't know. I just went into some room, random room on Clubhouse and sat there. But Roger, I do appreciate you. I appreciate everybody up here. Jay, you know I love you. And I will continue to support you, but that is the question. Who do you want at your table?
That's great, Chair. Appreciate that. I don't know, I think we've been on this app long enough, you've banged plenty of times, and, you know, we all have battle scars in Clubhouse, some of us worse than others. You know, most of you are familiar with my missions on this app and whatnot, but, I think after a while, you know people, you know what they're about, and, you know, like Roger said, you can call the bullshit out. You know, it was funny too, because somebody came into the room and, you know, I could take criticism or critique, but I don't mind you critiquing my modern style. I know I'm very prosperous. I don't care if I'm broken with how we talk. And, but I had to explain to this person that I'm not my way. You know, Norm likes to have conversations where he's like, oh, hold on, I want to work on point by point. And that could drag the whole conversation for an hour, just with one person. But that's what he wants. You know, we all mind differently. Like Rohan, man, this dude has the patience of a statue, man. I don't get it. But that's how he moderates. But again, he always comes back to the center and gets out what he wants. He draws out the answer. I don't have those patience. I wish I did. You know? I mean, what are you really looking for out of this app? Me? I'm really hoping these people have decent conversations. Today was amazing.
I've never banged with you.
You're missing out.
I'll think about something we can bang about if you want.
Yeah, sure. It's nice.
Jay is one of my favorite moderators. Jay, you're one of my favorite moderators on Clubhouse, seriously.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's funny too, because like I look around and like I'm gonna be totally honest. You know, I used to mod Rita because she was getting a lot of smoke. A lot of people, happy birthday, for the time.
Thank you.
But she was getting a lot of smoke. She was getting picked on. I fucking hate boys. And I would mod her just to kind of protect her. And then she started showing me, like, wait a second. She started bringing it. You know, she brought her A game when she would come in, and how smart she is and how engaging she is. So, you know, she kind of earned on my bed. She now wasn't that like, let me protect this woman. Now she's bringing something to the table, so I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Jay. And I appreciated you giving me a shot at the names. It's always nice to feel protected as well, little lady.
It's sexy.
I really feel like this is turning into like the Mutual Admiration Society meeting.
No one's
I mean, it's really bizarre.
Yeah, you can.
We're gonna put out some sausages and put on the barbie now, okay?
Look here, no one's given me any accolades or
What's
accolades.
the bottom line from I gave accolades today. I definitely did.
Thank you,
I
Ashley.
was extremely impressed, but I have learned something.
What?
I'm quiet on stage. I don't know why Jay Moxie. No clue, not a clue at all. But I have learned something. When a room is not being moderated well, people are like, can somebody moderate the room? Hey, mod, can somebody moderate the room? Then, when the room is being moderated well, people go, oh, this is not free speech. I can't talk. They're trying to direct the narrative. I can't do this. I can't do that. All because they can't interrupt. And then you're a bully with a green bean, and it's like a higher order, and this is what goes to mods' heads. I mean, I sit here and I listen, and sometimes I think I'm back in my classroom. I just can't believe like the way moderating goes. And if you sit back and you listen and you don't say a word, you literally just listen, that's what you'll find out. Poor moderation gets comments, great moderation gets comments. I don't know. Maybe it's like an open air prison in this.
Are you talking about the room from earlier, Ashley?
You know, it's every room.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, like anytime anybody's even asked for a one mic policy, it's like you're cutting off my free speech. You're directing the narrative. It's an echo chamber.
Right.
Well, I said this to you, I'll say it to you again. What you did today was a master class on how to moderate a room. And this is how I know you did really well. I was getting text messages offline. You come in and talk to Roya, and I came in, I'm like, what is she doing? She's standing on her square, let her be. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna give her a fucking bull one. Scream, queen, guy, do what you gotta do. It was a master class on how to run a room. Just because they didn't like the narrative of what you were saying, they didn't like it, but fuck them.
And I texted Jay and I was like, Jay, you need to come in here and mentor these men on how to handle a strong woman because they're all getting their egos hurt.
Not once did all I said once was like to that guy who was just being, like, honestly, at a certain point, Jay, it was beneath it would literally be a disrespect to the level of where we keep the conversation, like the average IQ and the skill, like, it's like, we're not gonna, in healthy debates, I don't see us discussing, I don't know, which butt plug color works best, right? Or maybe we do debate those things, but I'm just saying that.
You missed that room, by the
Which is
way.
the best color. I'm still waiting for.
Maybe you didn't get the poll, it was a telepoll. I'll send you the link, whatever, anyway.
Why do I get embarrassed when you say things like that? So
I'm sorry, Jay, I'm sorry that you get embarrassed. I don't know what I say in L After Dark, but like, the title's funny right now. Am I right?
I love L After Dark. I
L After Dark, so fix it up for Rita's birthday, and Al's birthday.
what's all after dark?
Oh, and you know what L After Dark is, but the
Oh,
room
I have no
earlier, I
idea.
just wanted to say this one thing about the room earlier. It's like, I don't like going there, but people seem to forget, like, everybody's an armchair expert and everybody suddenly knows the rules of engagement and how to perform the best policy debate of anyone's life, right? Everyone knows how to do that, right? But then when you actually implement brute and complete hurt logic, when you actually engage in that, people can't handle it. They say they want to, they say they want, let's have an actual debate, but in actuality, they can't handle it, the annihilation. And that's unfortunate, because that's actual policy debate. So,
I agree with you, Roy. I want to jump in for a second because I need to go, because if we're doing Mutual Admiration Society, there's something really that I need to say out loud to you, Roger, which is that Roger did something pretty phenomenal, and it was the night of 10/6, very late at night, when Gabriel came running into the room and told us what was happening in Israel. And as soon as we discovered what was happening, which was a very traumatic experience being in the room, I was in the room all night, which very much informed my experience from that moment on. I mean, I would compare it to remembering 9/11 and remembering when JFK was shot. It was that traumatic. But Roger immediately shifted out of being it being his room, and it turned into a room that was run by people who had family in Israel and friends in Israel, and basically a room of Jewish people who were in trauma dealing with it. And it was an incredibly gracious, respectful, I think very instinctive move on your part, Roger. And I really admired that about you. And I've never had a chance to say that to you before, but it was really important. And I thought it just spoke volumes about who you are as a person.
No, I appreciate that feedback. It actually came up last night, we were talking about that night. And slight correction, we actually ended the room and held the debates and turned and put the link for people to go into a different room.
Yes.
Because we were gonna talk about it, but it was very important who was gonna lead that discussion. And so, I don't know how much that had to do with instincts rather than just, some things just, feel right, some things feel wrong, and in that moment, that one to me seemed like pretty obvious, like, okay, this is a real thing, this is a moment that is unfolding, and I'm not qualified to lead this discussion, so please.
But it was
someone else do it.
happening so fast, and your ability to get it back fast and act back quickly to change the milieu of where we were and what was going to happen next. I mean, we were all in shock. Nobody really, we weren't even seeing stuff on Telegraph at that moment. I mean, it was so crazy. But I always remembered that you did that. So I just wanted to say kudos on that.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. That was a crazy, crazy night. When I tell people that I was in conversation with people as this stuff was unfolding, as sirens were going off and people were calling into the Clubhouse app from, from safe rooms and trying to turn the TV on, and it was hours before my news media covered anything. And so there was a part of me that just felt like, is this like a dream? It didn't even feel real, because it was so personal. There was, hearing personal stories of people that were impacted in the moment. And again, I don't know who's in the room. I don't want to cause anybody any trauma, but there was one thing that stuck with me from that night, where and I don't think they knew whether it was friendly or not friendly, but somebody was hitting the shutters in the house while this woman was in her safe room. And I remember listening to this and just thinking, this is real shit. And this is real, these aren't headlines. This is, you're listening to one of the most horrific events that's happened in our lifetime unfold. And we were listening to it happen live. And there was a part of me that was overwhelmed. There's also that part that, like, you couldn't, I think most of us were up for about 48 hours just listening.
Yeah.
You couldn't turn it off. And it was absolutely insane. But that was the story that stuck with me the most, was the woman in her safe room that said that she heard somebody hitting the shutters in her house and didn't know if it was, didn't know who it was. And so in those moments, I guess for safety concern, you have to assume it's, it's bad and hunker down. And, yeah, just,
It
I
really was the
support.
definition of surreal, it really was, because we really had no idea. I mean, it was, when I describe it, I talk about it as having been literally like in a room where it was happening, because it felt that, like we were literally in the situation room. And I mean, I remember, Ron, I remember you calling your daughter, I remember everybody trying to call family in Israel, and I actually was up the whole night, and in the morning, went over to my children's houses, because my son-in-law is a rabbi, and they don't do Shomer Shabbos, and I knew he didn't know, I knew nobody knew, and I literally went over there to wake him up to tell him in person. So, yeah, that was an intense thing, but I just wanted to acknowledge you on it.
Yeah, I did the same yesterday as well with Roger in the room, just expressing like really so much gratitude for how the situation's handled ever since October the 7th. It's meant a lot for myself. I shared a lot of personal stuff, with Roger about, stuff that's going on with my family, and I've got friends over there and so forth. And I needed to be able to take a break from the app after a while. So, yeah, Roger, you were very supportive, not just towards me, but for, the community on this app. There are a lot of people I would be thankful for. We have to be thankful for. A lot of the conversation in healthy debates is about sharing experiences, ideas, thoughts, information, and so forth. And yeah, there was a cut-off ever since, literally on that day. It's like, no, we're not going to debate this. We're not going into conspiracy theories. Thanks very much. We're talking about facts. We're not going to tolerate, any of the bullshit that comes along with it. And it's created a safe space where, where people can come, feel comfortable, and I guess in a lot of ways we really decompress, and that's the amount of support that I and other people in the community have is insurmountable. I want to thank you for that. There's also the woman who you're talking about with the blinds. She is alive. She's well, and she's still going through a level of trauma that's not as bad as what it was at the time. But she went through a recalibration process. It's one thing for it to be able to happen at the time and be reactive and instinctive about what's happening around. It's another thing at a later stage to be able to reflect upon, I guess, the enormity of a situation like that where you just don't know whether you're going to come out alive or not. So she is alive, she's well, and thank God for that. Unfortunately, there are other people that didn't quite make it through. I was able to get my daughter out of there within a couple of 48 hours, thank goodness. At the same time, we've got people from the app who lost their lives. One person, and another person we don't know is still a hostage in Gaza right now.
Yeah, I gotta say, Roger, you've done a really great job, you and Kelly, for years now. And that's all I have to say. And I share the same sentiment that everything that everyone has said.
I just want to continue just briefly. There have been other people, and not just Roger, have been incredibly supportive. You'd be remiss of me not to say anything, especially Jay. And there are a bunch of people within this community who aren't Jewish, but could actually understand what the fuck was going on October 7th, what has been happening ever since, and taking the time and interest to follow up, read information, ask questions, check in with people, and that, that's support. That is really support. And I look for the people who aren't here. I'm sorry they can't hear what I'm saying, but I really hope that the sentiments, my words actually manage to echo out to those people, and they know who they are.
Yeah, what's interesting is as time's gone by, and specifically in this house, when there was this process of like, oh, okay, are we gonna we can entertain somebody giving a different perspective. And the first couple of weeks after October 7th, it was just a non-starter. You just weren't gonna bring it up. It was just done. We're gonna talk about we talked about the subject, but we weren't entertaining the nonsense. And then we slowly started taking that on, and that transition period to me was very interesting because you had some people